Hey everybody, this is JT Curtis. So I wanted to give you guys a couple updates on what's going on with this channel, but first I'd like to just take a minute to talk about my father, Jay Curtis. Many of you who watch the history of rock and roll would know him as the hippie bum who's constantly making my life miserable on the show.
Woodstock? I was there!
Really? Are you sure you weren't hallucinating?
Well, I was high as a kite, but yeah, I think I was there!
But he's also been the director and our eyes behind the camera for all of the episodes so far.
Why don't you do it one more time, and then at the end, Great Balls of Fire, and leave it to Beaver?
Oh, definitely.
Jay's helped me out with nearly every shoot or music video that I've put out on this channel or any of the other channels I've been involved with. And that's a good thing because Jay has a very experienced background in film and TV.
This is where we had the actors say such things as
CBS, welcome, what? Home, welcome home!
He's been the creative lifeguard, a writer and producer for some shoots for CBS, NBC, Fox, ABC, the Super Bowl, the NCAA, just so many projects.
The ability to interface video into the computer realm, I think is going to change television. You can write that down.
In 2015, Jay was diagnosed with ALS, better known as Lou Gehrig's disease, the same disease that affects Stephen Hawking. But being the pro that he is, he continued working for as much as he could. He helped me produce the last music video I put out, Home Last Stand.
And this is Jay Curtis right here.
Yes.
I think you're beyond the minimum object distance.
And he was even cool enough to shoot his scenes for the history of rock and roll, the 70s and the 80s while he was still able to.
I like the Eagles, but I know a dude who hated the fucking Eagles.
My dad's been a poet for most of his life, and he took the news and the effects of ALS creatively, and he created a book of poems about his journey with ALS. It's called In and Out of Dreaming. It's a book of poems that's available on Amazon.
The poem is titled Yesterday, Today Was Tomorrow. You can find time, you can lose time, but you can't stop time. You can take a time out, you can give a time out, but you can't stop time. You could tell time, but it never listens because only time will tell. You can bide your time, but you can't kill time. It'll just go on as you move forward in time. You can never go back in time. Time doesn't really stand still, not even for you and me. Time clicks a metronome, singing its signature song with lyrics that cause flashes of life's momentary highlights jammed into my life movie. I imagine there will be a moment when all the white flashes congeal. Only then will the final gun sound, hopefully fired from a starter's pistol, merely signaling my overtime period.
I would highly encourage all of my viewers to please pick up a copy of this wonderful book of poetry, and part of the proceeds actually do go to ALS research. Well, we do plan to continue the history of rock and roll. My dad is retired, is enjoying the beach as we speak, and will not be able to continue directing the history of rock and roll. I honestly almost thought of maybe just stopping the show, but my dad has been the one to tell me, keep doing what you're doing. We are working on the history of rock and roll. We want to incorporate the footage that he shot of him talking about his experiences with the 70s and 80s. He's actually got a pretty interesting story about the 80s, which we'll get to when we get there. And yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to say. Recently, my father was honored for his lifetime achievement, and at the very end of the ceremony, he had some very wise words to say, which I will leave this video with.
Never, ever let the bastards grind you down. Thank you very much. Thank you.